Hello and welcome to another edition of the NRS C-Store Insider. I'm John Lofstock, and today I'm happy to be joined by Ethan Raziel, who is the CEO of Lightspeed PR. Now, Ethan is someone I've known personally and professionally, just to make Ethan feel old, for more than 30 years now, which is kind of hard to believe. But Ethan is really one of the preeminent PR people in the country, and he's worked on some of the biggest brands that everyone's heard of: Samsung, Sharp, Sony, RCA. I'm sure I'm leaving out quite a few, but you could fill them in as we talk, Ethan. How are you?
Really great. Good to be with you, John. Nice to see you again. It seems like I just saw you.
Yes, you did. One of the things that came up when I saw you, and I was thinking about some of all the controversies that are going on in the world today. So we deal a lot with convenience store retailers and urban independent markets. And these are 1 and 2 store chains, all the way up to obviously the bigger C-store chains in the country, who have a massive customer throughput. They're serving a lot of people, a lot of products, and sometimes things go wrong. Sometimes people are unhappy, as all you have to do is turn on the news today to hear about the brands that are getting some blowback. What's your spin on all of that? And, how do you handle PR when something goes wrong?
Yeah, that's a good question. And any company is going to sometimes have things not go wrong. And look, if things never go wrong, it means you aren't trying hard enough. You need to take risks. The CEO of Jeff Bezos at Amazon has a story he likes to tell where I tell my people that if you're not failing, then you're doing something wrong. You need to push the envelope. So failure is not something to be afraid of. It's okay. That's the first thing. It's okay. It's okay to fail. But once you do, what do you do about it, especially if it's a scandal or a controversy or kind of negative press? I tell my clients, first, own it. Don't run from it. Don't hide it. Acknowledge it, own it, say, yes, this is what we did. If you need to change course, then say we're going to change course. But if you try to avoid it and just say, just do the no comment approach, that's going to come back to bite you. You can't hide, not anymore. So just get out there, acknowledge what it is, and let people know that you understand and you're going to pivot as needed.
Mm-hmm. So you must deal with all range of companies that have been in existence for a while, some new to industry companies, retailers, wholesalers, etc.
Yeah.
What would you say their efforts are on the PR side? Are they aware when they bring someone in? If they're new, are they aware of what they need to do? I'm curious because I don't know if chains in our industry are fully aware of the value of good public relations, especially in the social media era where people could trash your brand online for weeks. It could go viral, and if you're not monitoring it, you'll never know. So you have to pay attention.
Well, there have been some great PR campaigns that have been executed by convenience store chains. I'll just give you a couple of kind of what I think are some of the greatest hits. 7-Eleven did this great campaign, the Bring Your Own Cup Day. Wawa did the Hoagies for Heroes campaign. They donated proceeds to the USO, which was an amazing campaign. Casey's did this campaign, Fueling the American Spirit. They were contributing back to the community. Cumberland Farms did one that was Free Coffee Fridays. These things are, the key to all of them is they're giving back to the community, but they're also promoting their own products and their stores. But you're right, a lot of chains might not understand how to use PR, and a lot of my clients don't. They may call me and say, Ethan, we need some help, but they actually don't really know what we do or how to do it. And I'm just going to very quickly give you the bottom line here. The bottom line is that a lot of people think that PR is about creating awareness. Hey, make me famous. That's publicity. PR is a little bit different. And the big difference is that we're not here. Our goal isn't awareness. Our goal is action. So you have to sort of know what is the action you want to drive. Now, if you're a convenience store chain, it probably is come to the store. It may also be apply to work here. It may be buy our stock. It may be apply for a job. I said that one already. It may be distribute your products through us, but and probably 6 other potential actions. But the campaign needs to involve a call to action. We get the CTA, the call to action. If you know what that is, then you can have great results. Don't forget the call to action. It's not just about awareness.
Okay, so if a chain is not doing anything on the PR side and they kind of are coming to the realization that it's time to start doing something, what are the first steps? How do they find a good PR fit?
Well, the way that most companies start is by getting a reference from somebody else, which is really the same as, you would if you need an attorney or
Mhm.
a stockbroker or whatever. This is the broader category, professional services. You get a reference. You go to, I would recommend, if you're really kind of new to PR, check out some of the PR trades. The big ones are Dwyer's, Bulldog Reporter, PR Week. And there you can do a couple things. You can read some of the latest articles about PR campaigns, and then they have rankings on top agencies, and you can start there. And you could either look at a big agency like an Edelman or a Fleischman, or a Burson, or you can look at companies like mine, which are the more boutiques, and you'll find those too.
So if one of these C-store chains would come to you and they say, hey, listen, we're having a problem reaching customers in a certain demographic, or we're having problems selling our coffee. What are some of the plans that a PR agency could put together to help these chains sell more stuff?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of things that stores can do. I'm always, and this really applies beyond just convenience stores, but I definitely am a big fan of doing in-store events. You want to get people to the store. So the in-store events is one that I would recommend. I would definitely recommend doing sponsorships in your area. So, sponsoring like a sports team, something like that.
So community-based events.
Community-based is really important. Merchandise, like I would ask, if you own a store, either whether you're an owner of just a franchise or owning a chain, are you properly, are you like, when I buy a cup of coffee, is it a generic cup, or is the name of your chain or the store on there? Or are you going to have t-shirts and hats that are branded in the store? And it's really important. You mentioned social media. You really want to cover all channels. So you want to have social media, you want to have earned media, which is like newspapers, TV, blogs, and stuff like that. Then you want to have your website and your in-store, and you want to do your email marketing. And here's the key. We have this sort of term that we call holistic marketing. And what we mean by that is each different type of marketing feeds to the next one. So here's an example. You do a social media post. That social media post drives you to sign up for an email. Now I've signed up for an email, and that email will drive me to the website. Now I'm on the website drives me back to the store, and then the store drives me to social, and it repeats. So you want to have that kind of step approach. And if you do that, you want to hit people 5 different ways. Otherwise, what we have learned is if you just see like a Facebook post or Instagram, that's not enough. Or if you saw an ad, that's not enough. You got to see something 5 times before you're like, oh, wow, I keep on seeing this brand. Maybe there's something to it. So you want to do it 5 times, and then it accumulates to action.
That's that whole theory of omni-channel marketing too, isn't it? Really to hit these customers, to hit all customers or people where they shop or where they work and where they play, and get their attention. And
Yep.
social media really is a big key to all of this, isn't it? As much as I dislike social media, I realize I'm kind of a dinosaur in that area. But the Twitters and the Instagrams and TikTok have really come to dominate retail marketing. And that's good and it's bad, because like I mentioned earlier, if something goes wrong and someone says, oh, screw brand X, my sandwich was cold and the employee was rude, everyone who likes brand X is probably just going to gloss over it. But everyone that's had a bad experience is now going to pile on. And man, once that bus gets going, it's hard to stop it.
Yeah, you're right. It's sort of you have a narrative that's hard to break out of, and social media is really important, as you say. And one of the reasons for that, and it's just been over about the past 10 years or so, is that trust in traditional media has declined. So, it used to be if something was in the New York Times, that was just the truth. That was an accepted fact. Now, you have this sort of demarcation. Not everybody trusts what they read, but they'll trust their friends much more. So if you say something on, Facebook, I'm like, well, John says that, I know him, so I'm going to believe that more than I'll believe some reporter who I might think might have a hidden agenda sitting, behind a desk somewhere. So traditional media is important too, but yeah, social media is much more impactful and influential.
Okay. How do you advise anybody on how to monitor social media? Any tips or any words of
Yeah,
wisdom?
yeah, there's a couple ways to do it. I mean, you could use there's tools like Hootsuite, or we use Muckrack. There are tools you can use. It can be expensive, but you can also manually do it. If you have a smart social media person, you don't need to buy those tools. They can just manually check it out and keep you posted on stuff.
And is the old adage still true? Really take the conversation offline. If someone says, screw company X, they ruined my sandwich, you respond and say, let's talk offline or send me a DM and we'll make it right, kind of thing. Some people, Disney, when I worked for Disney, that was a big problem that Disney had, by the way, is that people complained. They just wanted free stuff. And I'm sure there's people that do that too.
It's still valid. The key is that you do want to reply publicly so everybody else saw that you're responding to them, but without the details. So like you say, sorry to hear about this. Send me a DM and then we'll make it right is actually still really effective.
Okay, good.
I do want to recommend one of the things that I wanted to just say. I was looking at websites of some of the C stores and I really was impressed by Wawa, and I want to recommend your audience here to check out. They do a social purpose report, and I thought it was really impressive. And they're reporting on 13 million pounds of coffee from Rainforest Alliance certified growers. They do this Associates in Need program where they're giving financial assistance for associates needs help, and they've supported over 800 associates. I mean, this kind of stuff is really impactful, and the media love it, and it works also for social. And you want people to have a love and affinity and a trust for your brand beyond the products. And so I definitely would recommend checking out that social purpose report that Wawa did. I thought it was really impactful. And also have a really good press kit. Reporters need help. They're busy. They're in a rush, just like you and me are. And so if you have a really good media kit where you provide all the information about your company in one easy to find place on the website, you'll get a lot of mileage out of that.
Also gives you a chance to control the narrative, doesn't it? I mean, what you put in there is probably what they're going to run with.
That's right. That's right. Reporters they're trying to looking for shortcuts. And so if you can say, look, this is the headline, let me tell you what the headline is. Like you said, you control the narrative that way. So you can really get out ahead of negativity with that. And make sure you have a communications policy. You talked, John, about when there's a scandal or when there's a negative story, what reporters like to do? They like to call headquarters and just ask questions to whoever answers and see what they can get. And sometimes you'll have just a receptionist or somebody saying, oh yeah, there was layoffs, it's true, or whatever. You don't want that out there. You need a communications policy which says if you get questions from the press, only these 5 people are authorized to answer it. If you get a question, do not engage. Send it up the chain. It seems obvious, right? Of course they do that. No, it's not that obvious. People don't think of that. So make sure to have a communication policy.
There's a great story. There's a chain in our industry called Quick Trip in La Crosse, Wisconsin, KT. And in their bathrooms, they have a clean, absolute clean restroom guarantee. And there's a personal note from Don Zeitlau, the founder, chairman, built this company to 1,000 stores. And it says, if there's a problem, call me. And the phone number listed is the phone number on the desk in his office. It is his personal phone number in every store.
What a great story. Yeah, I love that.
It rings right there. And that really feeds off of itself. Now, every customer thinks that they have a pipeline to Don. And he's a legend in Wisconsin, so everybody knows who he is, and that's how he built his business. But those stories really aren't that uncommon in some of the great traditional retail brands that you hear about, the Dave Thomases of the world, people that really cultivated a personal relationship, and that's before social media, right? You can really do that now a lot quicker.
This is great advice, and this is something that I tell my clients too. Your brand is not just about your logo; it's about a human face. And people want to know who's behind the scenes. And, sometimes you have, sometimes you have a Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or some, sort of celebrity CEO, but sometimes you don't. sometimes that CEO or that president is more behind the scenes, and it doesn't have to be that way. People want to know who's in charge. So it's always good to get out ahead of that and put your face on the website. And this is who I am. It doesn't mean you have to put your phone number on the wall, but at least put your face on the website.
All right, time for me to put you on the spot. Without naming companies or people, what was the worst disaster you had to pull a company out of?
Well, there's a lot.
I wasn't expecting you to say that. Okay.
I thought, yeah, well, I worked at a big electronics company, which you know who it is, but I won't say the name. But we had, they were making microwaves you know how microwaves like emit deadly radiation? Well, it turns out that if the microwaves emit that radiation when the door is open, then that's bad. And they were doing that. It was the hinge, you know, there's a sensor that wasn't activating. Anyway, we had a lot of damage control to do. We had to do a recall and put out a statement, and we had a lot of explaining to do. And that was a rough week. But like I said, we just owned it and got out ahead of it and acknowledged it and made sure that we literally had to send people out to RVs to get the old microwaves out of the RV and put in the new ones. It was expensive, but we did what we had to do to fix it.
Yeah, I don't think I heard about that in the news. So you kept it from being a bigger story.
Right. There were some other scandals we did hear about, but yeah.
All right. Best success story. What's someone that ran a program that you did or that your team worked on that, to quote the kids, went viral and became an instant success?
Yeah, we have a client that makes towels, beach tech towels, and these towels are unusual because they dry super fast and they fold up in the size of a paperback book. And our idea was to actually let press experience those towels, and we brought them over to a mall, the American Dream Mall in East Rutherford, New Jersey. And for your viewers, if you haven't ever been there, if you're in the kind of New Jersey, New York area, go check out the American Dream Mall. It's an amazing mall, and they have the world's largest indoor water park. And we said, let's invite press to come and enjoy this water park and try out these towels. But we had to do it. The whole key was we wanted them to write their stories in the summer, but we had them come to the water park in February when it was cold because of the long lead time for holiday stories. But they were able to enjoy this in February, and they loved the towels. We got lots of great coverage, and it was, you know, a perfect example of what we say when you're dealing with press. You want to give them value beyond just buy our product. It's amazing. Here we got them a free trip to a water park for a day. We partnered with the mall. They were amazing, so hospitable. And we catered food for them, and they loved it. And my client was thrilled. They check out Beach Tech Towels, and you'll see some of the articles about it. It was a huge hit.
Awesome. By the way, you mentioned Cumberland Farms before. They did a promotion. Gosh, this is going back maybe 10 years with David Hasselhoff. So if you have a chance later, look this one up. They had life-size cutouts of David Hasselhoff, the Hoff, and they put them in stores. And they have, 1,000 stores. And what was happening was people started stealing them and then taking selfies at the beach. Here I'm with Hoff, stopping their car in the middle of the interstate, taking a picture with Hoff. And at first, I think they were trying to rein in the theft and control it. And then after just a couple of weeks, they just went with it. And they just kept replenishing stores with these Hasselhoff things. And it just blew up on social media. Pictures everywhere with the Hoff life-size cutout. And it was just a treasure trove of PR. So
that's a great story. Yeah, you can't change behavior. You need to go with the flow. If people want to take the cutouts, you know what? Take them. We'll make more. Why not? Right? It's
great publicity. Yeah, and it was great. Really, one of the funnier viral moments I've seen.
So that predated Wake Up with the King, the Burger King. Sounds like they had that idea first. That's pretty
cool. Well, listen, one good idea, right? People steal it. Yeah, there's no no limit to what you can do, and follow what other people are doing and take it.
Yeah.
All right. So, any closing words of advice from Ethan Raziel?
I would just say have an identity. every PR chain, sometimes, convenience store chains, sometimes it's easy for me as a consumer to kind of think of them all the same, but they're really quite different. Wawa's known for freshness, and Circle K is known more for value, and Cumberland is known for having its fresh brewed coffee. Everybody has their own kind of hook. 7-Eleven is known for, obviously it's hours, it's right there in the name, so you wanted to sort of like make sure to set yourself apart. And that's advice I would give to anybody who's looking for PR, is just know what your differentiator is and know what your value is, and everything else follows.
Excellent. And how can people reach you if they want?
You can reach me, you can email me. It's ethan@lightspeedpr.com. My website is lightspeedpr.com. And happy to help if anybody has any questions.
Awesome. Ethan, thank you so much. So on behalf of Ethan, I'm John Lofstock, and thank you for listening and tuning in. And we look forward to having you on a future NRS C-Store Insider podcast. Have a good afternoon.